All Ivy League schools are built on slavery, literally. Listen, Harvard, Yale, Brown, Princeton all benefit from slavery because they literally funded, staffed, and built it, including Columbia. See, all these elite universities like to brand themselves as progressive, intellectual, moral authorities, but the reality is that their origins are deeply rooted in slave money, plantation wealth, colonial exploitation, racial exclusion. Because enslaved people built and maintained these campuses. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, enslaved people built the buildings, cooked the meals, cleaned dormitories, maintained grounds, and served faculty. These schools weren't ideologically connected to slavery. They have literally operated dependent on it. Endowments came from slave traders, plantation owners, and colonial prophets. Major donors to early universities were slave traders, sugar plantation owners, exporters, merchants who profited from colonial labor. Brown University, for example, was directly tied to the slave trade through its funding family. Harvard's early presidents and donors owned enslaved people. Yale was named after a man whose wealth came from colonial trade systems tied to enslavement. So when people say these schools earn their prestige, yeah, on stolen labor, universities use science to justify racism. These institutions didn't just benefit financially, they helped intellectually legitimize white supremacy. Professors taught phrenology, that's Phrenology, racial hierarchy theories, and biological inferiority models. So, phrenology is when they examine your skull, and based on the appearance, they can determine your mental qualities and your potential. So, professors taught phrenology, racial hierarchy theories, biological inferiority models, which were used to justify slavery, justify segregation, justify colonialism, and justify eugenics. So, the academy wasn't neutral, it was active infrastructure for racial oppression, and they still do that till this day. Have you ever been to any of these campuses, attended any of their history lectures? A lot of what they don't teach you in schools, they teach on these campuses, but their own version of history. And then the way that it's taught